I have bought a few new plants since the mass killing of all of the plants. Ooh, goodbye. Were you and Ross trying, or was the pregnancy a happy surprise? Don't know if you can see quite how deflated those leaves are. What are some tips for starting a Planty YouTube channel? How has pregnancy been for you so far? Do you have baby names figured out yet? And are they planty? Hello everyone, I hope you are doing well today. I have just brought over some of my very sad plants to rehab for today's video because I have got so much that is going wrong with my plants at the moment. I've been doing little bits of plant rehabby stuff off camera this week, but there is just still so many things that are just not happy and need pretty urgent attention, to the point that I want to say that probably like 90% of the plants in my collection need something doing to them. They're not all as bad as this. As you know, if you watched my last video, I've lost quite a lot of plants as well. But yes, now we move forward and we try and deal with the aftermath. So that is what we're going to be doing today. I also asked you guys to send in some questions, and I've got so many to get through. I've got planty questions, life questions, personal questions, baby questions, you name it. So yeah, I just thought we could have a bit of a chat, a bit of a catch up, and just do some planty things together. But first, if you're new here, hi, my name's Claire and this is Yoli. I make videos all about houseplant care, sharing tips and tricks I've learnt over the years to help keep your plants happy and healthy. And yeah, I am really working on getting my motivation back and getting things back to a good place myself. So if you've got stuff to do as well, even perhaps if you don't particularly feel like doing it, but you need to do it, feel free to grab some plants and we can chat through things together and hopefully get a little bit more on top. So yes, I hope you enjoy it. Let's get into it. So I have brought a handful of plants over to get started with. I always find it really hard to judge how long things are going to take me. So I've got more that I can grab if I get through all of this, but definitely a good amount to get me started, I would say. Oh, okay, so the plant that I'm going to start with is the one I showed you at the beginning, which is looking really sad and curly and unhappy. And it's my Aglaonema cutlass, one of my favourite plants and one of the plants that's been in my collection for years. I'll put a clip on the screen so that you can see what it looks like when it's kind of in its element. And this plant has already had a pretty big lop back. I've lost loads of leaves. If I turn it round, you can see it is super bare. And it's a very hardy plant. Like, I talk about Aglaonema as a genus being like a really great genus for beginners, for people that maybe forget to water their plants sometimes. I talk about that all the time. However, this one I think was one of my plants that was already a little bit dry when I first got morning sickness. Again, if you have missed a couple of videos, I am pregnant currently with twins, which is so bonkers. Still saying it out loud feels so weird. But yeah, I had a very tough first trimester and did not do any plant care at all, pretty much. So yeah, this is one of the ones that I suspect was probably dry when I first got sick, because I do chronically underwater this plant as it is. And it is one of those ones that just kind of gets on with it and it bounces back every time, but I fear this time it may not bounce back. So I've set up my other camera as well, so you can kind of see what I'm doing from both angles. I should probably have put a potting mat down, but I'm just gonna work straight onto the table today. Okay, so I've just taken it out of its pot and immediately I can see that the roots aren't good, which I did suspect because I watered this one through and I was like, is it gonna bounce back like normal? And yeah, I don't know. Hang on, let me just shake some of the soil off. At first glance, you might think it looks okay. Oh God. But yeah, all of those roots are so deflated. It's like they've just rotten away to nothing. And if I just give them a pull, they just pull away in my hand. So it's been in this soil mix for quite a long time as it is. Oh my God. Yeah, it's been in the soil mix for quite a long time. So I think I'm probably going to just discard this soil and compost it. And I'm just going to go through and see if any of these roots are going to be savable, or if I'm going to have to essentially restart the plants completely, which I may have to do. And if I do, it's not the end of the world. But yeah, I have put these to kind of balance out the plant baby life questions. I've just kind of put them in a random order. But the first one I started with is, how is your plant collection doing right now? I feel like this is pretty representative of how a lot of it is doing. I have got so many things that need attention. Like, it's actually been quite overwhelming. I've got so many things that are just in a really, 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 really bad way. And I've never, ever, I don't think, had to deal with this much plant drama at once. So I've just been in the little surges of energy that I've had here and there. I've just been like, right, okay, repot this, rehab this, chop this up, make some brutal decisions on this plant. And so although there's a lot of things that are actually doing surprisingly okay and have bounced back quite well, there are a lot of things that haven't as well. If you watched my last video, you'll have seen I lost about 40 plants, 40, which is really seriously sad. I know it's for a very good reason, and I probably, in fact, I know I would be more upset if it was any other circumstance, but still 40 plants is a lot to lose. And my collection just feels very different at the moment, I think. Like, when I walk into my plant room, it doesn't make me sad, but seeing gaps where certain plants were makes me very sad. And just knowing that there's so much to do. I do enjoy this element of plant care. I do actually quite weirdly enjoy the rehabby side. But when there's so much, it can just feel a little bit much, you know? So I'm actually not going to bother taking all the soil off the roots, because as I'm going through and doing this, I'm seeing that none of the roots are savable. Literally none of them. So that kind of cools this for me. I'm going to have to completely restart the plants, which is not a bad thing. All of it is kind of looking like this, and obviously it's lost so many leaves on the bottom section of the stems anyway. Giving it a bit of a chop back is probably not a bad thing. So I'm just going to go ahead and remove the yellowing leaves that it's got. I'm just literally... Oh, I just broke that in half. So that's our first propagation. Yes, I was going to say very carefully removing the leaves. I wasn't being that careful, clearly. But I've got that little section there. And I'm going to just do the same, take the yellowing leaves off. And then the good thing is with this type of plant, I was going to say, will I be able to rehab these little plantletty bits that are coming off the side? I don't know. Oh, let's try. Let's just try leaving them on there and see what happens. Yeah, with this type of plant, and it's very similar with like Dieffenbachia, certain types of Dracaena as well, ones that basically do get quite leggy. These are the points on the stem, all of these little kind of rings, that is basically the nodes of the plant, and that's where the roots will grow from. So in theory, chopping and starting again from pretty much any point should be a pretty straightforward thing to do. I can't say I've actually done it with this type of Aglaonema before, but from what I know about Aglaonema, I would have thought it'll be fine. I do hope it'll be fine. But yeah, the actual stems themselves haven't started to rot. Like, although there is no root at the bottom, it feels very firm, which is a really good thing. That does mean that I probably won't have to chop it too much. I will just be able to put it back into my chosen medium, which I think is going to be sphagnum moss. I just feel quite confident propagating this type of plant in that way. So that's what I'm going to go with. And I do hope it starts rooting again soon. So yeah, that's kind of a summary of where my plant collection is at the moment. I just honestly feel happy to have got a little bit of my spark back for plant care again recently. And don't get me wrong, there's still a lot of days where I look at everything and it just feels like too much and I just walk away and I end up not doing anything at all. But having not been well for such a long time, it does feel nice to finally be able to start dealing with the chaos. So yeah, that's where I'm at with it all. Moving forward and thinking of things in slightly new ways, I would say. But the next question was, what's a tip for keeping plants happy when you don't have much time? This is a question that I am asking myself a lot at the moment as well. Obviously, my life is going to get very, very, very busy quite soon, and I am having to think about how practical ways I can keep my plants alive when I've got two little babies. And I know some of you in the comments have been saying to me, Claire, you're just not going to have time. And you know what? You could be completely right. You probably are completely right. I've never done this before, so I don't know. I think naively part of me is thinking, oh, an hour a week, I'll be able to potter around with my plants. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. I don't know. But what I'm just trying to do is set my collection up in a way that means I will be able to hopefully walk away from it and not tend to it for 4 weeks or so, and there's not going to be too much drama. / I will be able to send somebody into my planty space that's not a planty person, and they will be able to do it for me, because that is something that I'm just going to have to get better with. I'm going to have to get better at letting people do things for me. Yeah, so far, one of the things that I've done, and I did in a video a couple of weeks ago, is I've done some co-planting. I have potted loads of similar plants with, in fact, all alocasias so far, but same genus, same lighting requirements, that like the same kind of things. I've potted them all up together in the hope that they will all cohabit quite well together. And I think I've probably got about 10 plants in that one planter now, but obviously I'm only now caring for one planter, and because it's in semi-hydro, it's just the case of like watering and then releasing some water from a little tap on the side. I'm gonna absolutely make a very specific video about all of this at some point, but that's something so far that is working. I've got one plant in there, my Alocasia Jacqueline, that is having a little bit of transitionary drama. That is quite a sensitive plant, and to be honest, I'm actually kind of surprised that others haven't kicked up a fuss, but it's losing its biggest leaf currently, which is a bit sad, but I do hope it's temporary and it means that the plant will kind of bounce back long term, So yeah, I've got loads of other ideas to make plant care lower maintenance and kind of cut down my time that I need to spend doing things. That is pretty much what my content on YouTube is going to be, I think. Once I've got everything back on track, that's probably going to be like my main focus with all of my content for the next 4 months until the babies get here. So yeah, hopefully I'll be able to answer that question much better as time goes on. But right now, those are the things that I've tried and so far are working. I did bring over a little dustpan and brush, just so that I can vaguely tidy as I go. I've just noticed that the carrier bag I'm pouring this into has a hole at the bottom of it. But I've done it now, so I guess I'll just clean the floor after this video. And continue in the meantime to put more things into the plastic bag. That's the sensible option, isn't it? Okay, so yeah, like I say, I really hope that these bottom bits don't rot. I really hope they don't rot. There's nothing leading me to believe that they would, because, as I say, they are so firm. The only concern that I've got is that they are a little bit yellow, and sometimes when things start to go yellow, it's because they're going to die back. In fact, almost always it's because they're going to die back. But okay, I think I probably just need to accept the fact that I might need to change things up if it's not working for this plant. I'm gonna do it for now, and yeah, just closely monitor it. And I'm going to use a transparent container. I know this is actually quite a nice jar, and if Ross knew I was using this jar, he would be happy. So because I'm all out of nice big jars, but this is a great one. So I'm going to use the sphagnum moss, just because it's nice and light and airy. I find it's really effective, particularly for root rehabbing. I use it so much of the time, and I do currently have quite a lot of it. So I'm just going to fill a little bottom layer. Perfect. And then pop my cuttings in. And like I say, hopefully in the next couple of weeks, I should notice the foliage on these getting much perkier and the plants start to look much happier. And if that is not happening, then I will get them out of sphagnum moss and I'll reevaluate and see what I need to do next. Probably chop much higher is the answer. But I have faith that this might work. In fact, I have a lot of faith that this will work. Let's be more positive. Yeah, as I say, this is one of the aglaonema that I've had for so long and has just been really reliable and really gorgeous and really great, and I would hate to lose. The next question, and this is one that I got from a lot of you guys, is do you have baby names figured out yet, and are they planty? So obviously me and Ross are talking a lot about baby names. We have some names that we really like, and I'm not going to share them in this video. I'm going to let that be a surprise. We're finding boy names way easier than girl names. I personally quite like gender neutral names, and I think just me and Ross have just got we've just got very different tastes when it comes to naming children, which is not the most convenient thing. So we have been through, oh dear Lord, I don't even want to think how many names we've been through. I got a second-hand book of 100,000 baby names, and there were not many that we could agree on from 100,000. So yeah, we've still got time, but we've got a nice list of boy names and currently one girl name that neither of us love, but we can both kind of agree on. So by all means, please comment some suggestions down below. I don't need the names to be planty. If they've got a botanical theme and we love them, then great. But I definitely don't need it to be a planty name. Yeah, as I say, we're having 2 babies, and we could be having 2 boys, 2 girls, boy, girl. Again, yeah, just let me know if you've got any suggestions. They will be much appreciated. But, so, there we go. That's what it's looking like. Still looking quite sad, but I feel like hopefully it's set up a little bit better. So I will let you know how it gets on in the coming weeks. And hopefully this will be enough to keep it happy. The next one that I'm going to do something to, this one doesn't look that awful, but this has been a plant that has needed attention for ages. This is my narrow form pallidiflorum, and honestly I think this is I'm actually kind of amazed that this plant is still alive. It is in this teeny tiny little pot. It dries out so quickly, and I have been the worst plant parent to this plant. I've really done nothing to support its growth, and as a result it has had lots of issues and has not been growing well. So yeah, this is not a result of the last few months. It was already looking bad. But basically, I think it just needs a really good repot. I'm going to have a look at its roots and see what they're looking like. And then probably... Oh, come out. Oh, yeah. Yeah, its roots are, again, quite dry. Not awful, but I might need to give them a little bit of a chop back. But as you can see, it's got this like long stretch of stem here where it's just kind of grown up and out. And I really would like to pot that as low as possible so that hopefully lots of aerial roots can start to grow from here, and that will just help to strengthen the plant. Because yeah, it's actually got some really nice roots. You see those big, full, pale ones? They're perfect, but then it has got quite a lot of dry roots as well, like these ones here that just don't look good. So I'm going to give it a little root prune back and then a repot. But the next question was, do you add any additives to your water like Calmag, silica, kelp, etc.? Yes, I do. So obviously I've said before, I fertilise, I haven't been fertilising recently, but I try to fertilise every single time I water my plants if they're actively growing, just because it really helps to support their growth. I feel like it's one of the main reasons why I'm able to grow, typically, not at the moment, but grow such big kind of luscious, healthy plants. But I don't just rely on fertiliser, and I know this person was asking about Calmag, silica, kelp, etc. The one that I have introduced in the last 6 months and have really stuck with is Calmag, which is just a calcium magnesium supplement. I'll link the exact one that I use down below. But to be honest, I kind of just started playing about with it on a bit of a whim. I was having issues with one of my anthuriums and I could not for the life of me figure out what was going wrong with it. And so I disappeared down a bit of a Reddit rabbit hole and I was reading loads and loads and loads of things about similar problems with similar types of anthurium and what it could be. And quite a few people mentioned Calmag and I was like, interesting. I've used Calmag in the past. I don't remember being particularly blown away by it, but maybe my plants just didn't need it at that point. And so anyway, I introduced it to this one specific anthurium and it did amazing things. It gave me the first leaf that, like, I think about 2 months after introducing it, the first leaf it had given me with no browning. It was just really healthy, really strong. I just felt really confident with that anthurium. And so I've just started trying it with various other plants in my collection as well. And so far, so good. They've all seemed to respond really well. I've been using it for plants in semi-hydro as well as growing in soil, organic matter. And yeah, I'm really glad that I started playing about with it. I feel like, I don't know, I'm using way less than it tells you to on the bottle currently. And I think that's because I am just kind of throwing it on lots of my plants at the moment. I don't want to overdo it. I'm sure it can be overdone and I'm still figuring out that balance. But right now, it's working well. So yeah, if you're struggling with kind of random browning in your plants, particularly things like anthurium, as I say, and maybe you've done a process of elimination and you can't think what else it could be, if the roots look good, if the conditions are right, I would experiment with different nutrient balances and just see perhaps maybe what your fertiliser isn't offering your plants in high amounts. And yeah, seeing what else you can introduce. I think it's quite fun. I think part of the fun of plant care is playing around with various different things and seeing what works, what doesn't. But no, Calmag has been, for me, a really good discovery. So that is something that I consistently use. When my plants are trying to flower as well, or if they're in the season where I think they should be flowering, this particularly goes for my Hoyas, I do use, what's it called? Again, I will link it below. I think maybe it's a nitrogen supplement, is that right? I think it's by Biobizz. It helps aid flowering and fruiting. I haven't found it makes a massive difference, to be honest. I haven't started using it and gone like, oh wow, everything is suddenly flowering. But it helps me feel like I'm doing good by the plant. So yeah, that is something else that I play about with. But yeah, do you guys use other things consistently? I know kelp is very, very popular. I typically try to steer away from like stimulants for plants, things that are going to kind of shock them into rapid growth, just because I've often found that plants that I don't like, that do that then are suddenly kicking out loads and loads and loads of leaves, are then much more susceptible to other issues. Like, I think the growth that they give you isn't necessarily the healthiest growth, if that makes sense. They're more susceptible to root rot, fungal issues, pests, you name it. So yeah, at the moment, just Calmag consistently. So I think I'm pretty happy with the roots of this plant, actually. Surprisingly so, more so than I thought it was going to be. But yeah, as I say, it has got that long stretch of stem just there. So I'm going to pot this probably into one of these. I've got some tower pots. In fact, I've only got a few tower pots here. Is it going to be big enough? I've also got this, which is a clear orchid pot, which I think would do the trick, but it is a little bit on the big side. I reckon that would actually be pretty good for that plant for now, size-wise. So again, I'm not going to use the soil that I just used. I'm going to go in with, I've actually got a chunky soil mix just next to me here. So yeah, that's what it looks like. It's got lots of orchid bark mixed in, so it's perfect for epiphytic plants like this. It's just soil, coco coir, perlite, orchid bark, I think maybe some worm castings. I mixed it up a while ago, but this is kind of like my go-to mix usually for most plants. I sometimes add in a little bit more bark for my epiphytic ones, but for now, I actually think this is pretty chunky. I think it's going to be all right. So let's see. What's one of the plants you lost that you are the saddest about? I spoke about this in my last video. There were a lot that I was very sad about, but I think probably the saddest. Oh, I've got three. I've got three that just pinged to the front of my mind. I think the ones that I was the saddest about, my Peperomia Hope, my Hoya linearis, and my Drimonia cherubigana. However, the Drimonia cherubigana I have set up to propagate, and I do think it will probably work. I don't want to jinx it. But those were ones that were particularly sad, just because I feel like they're real staples in my collection, and oh, I just adore them. I just adore them. And I was going to say as well, I've had some of you guys in the comments and messaging me and stuff very kindly saying, I could give you a cutting of this plant, or I've got a spare one of these. Honestly, that is so sweet of you. And I'm so, I feel so lucky to have you guys and to have you saying that. It's really lovely. However, right now, I really passionately want to get back on top of what I've already got before I start even replacing things, just because it feels like the sensible thing to do. So for now, I'm going to say no, which is a difficult thing to say, but yeah, I'm just going to focus on what I've got, and then at some point, maybe I will start bringing these plants back into my collection. But yeah, already that just looks like a much better setup for that plant. I know it's quite a small pot, and I could probably have split the difference actually. I could probably have gone one size bigger. But again, I have got more tower pots, and if I need to repot this plant again in the next kind of 4 or 5 months, I will. But I'm happy with that. I think it should do much better now, I hope. Because I love that one, but I haven't given it the time and energy it deserves compared to like my big Pallidiflorum. In fact, I'm going to put this down here because I know I will knock it over otherwise. So yeah, I would like to bring out the best in that one this year, more so than I already have. Because I feel like so far, I've just kind of taken it for granted a little bit and it hasn't done particularly well for me. Do any of you guys that have the normal Pallidiflorum and the narrow form find them any different to grow, out of interest? Because I know I've set them up in different ways, but I remember when I first got my big Pallidiflorum, that one just felt, it's always just felt like a really easy plant for me, whereas that one has always felt a little bit of a drama queen. And I don't know if that's my experience or maybe if that is a thing with the plant and how it's cultivated. So yeah, let me know. One of you actually said, has your Pallidiflorum recovered yet? I would say it's on the road to recovery. I may need to repot it. I've given it a couple of waters and it has still got a few curly leaves, but most of them are kind of opening out and looking much better. If in a week or so the leaves haven't completely unfurled again, I'm going to have to repot it. I'm going to have to get in there because it might have, the same thing like what happened with this one, it might have started rotting. I do hope that's not the case. But yeah, I do feel the need to check. And while I'm doing just very quick anthurium repots, I've got my little Warocqueanum here, which is very dehydrated at the moment. It is a bit floppy. And I know it's looking a little bit rough around the edges because it's got some damage, but actually it's doing okay, believe it or not. This one is just in a very small tower pot and I just want to put it in a slightly bigger one. I know this one's very soily, but it had a plant that wasn't unwell that came out of it, so I'm fine. I'm just kind of making the transition. I think my long-term plan for this plant is probably to get it into a pond pot, similarly to what I've done for the big Warocqueanum that I've got, just because the airflow for the roots is so great doing it that way. Yeah, and in fact, you know what? I'm actually not going to break up the soil on the roots too much just because I don't want to damage the root system, but it's looking really good. Really, really good. See, I'm just going to add to that. One thing that I'm really noticing this week particularly, and I think it's because I'm getting rapidly bigger, but also I think I'm a little bit iron deficient at the moment. I am so out of breath, like ridiculously out of breath. Every time I bend down to like get soil or anything, I am just like, oh. And actually when I was setting up to film this video, I had to kind of sit here for like 10 minutes beforehand because I walked downstairs. And I sat here and I was like, which is not a nice feeling. I'm sure it will improve, but just all these things do adjust to. Again, that was a very straightforward little repot, but that plant just needed more space. So yeah, now hopefully it won't dry out as quickly because it's going to have more water. More water is going to be able to be held in the substrate. So I will give it a water through after I finish filming this. Oh, but then let's do this one. This is sad. This is my Anthurium vitarifolium. And just look at those leaves. They're really curly and really unhappy. Oh, all of them, apart from this one, weirdly, all of them are starting to yellow. And I'm like, do I chop them back? Do I let the plant kind of hold on to them for a bit longer? I don't know. But I am going to check the roots of this plant and I think, yeah, assess once I've got it out of this very dry soil mix that it's in. Oh, this poor plant. How do you think you'll cope with 2 babies and your plants? Will you be downsizing? So as I've said earlier in this video, currently, I don't know. I honestly don't know. I know that obviously I want to be as present as possible in their lives. I think they are small for such a short period of time. And I think particularly when you've got 2 little ones at once, I'm like, I don't want to blink and miss anything. So yeah, I'm sure I will be having to have a downsize for my plants. I think that's just realistic. I think it probably wouldn't be fair on my plants to try and keep all of them, as well as it being fair on the babies, you know? So yeah, I think I'm actually going to another plant swap this weekend. I may have already been by the time this video goes out, but I'm gonna take some things. Oh, I don't quite know everything yet. But I'm going to take some things in my collection just to find new homes. Things that I like but I don't love. Plants that I can't be bothered to rehab. Things like that. And just try and... So these roots are quite dry. So again, I'm just chopping back anything like that just doesn't look like it's going to survive. Oh, dearie me, this is really dry. But yeah, so a gradual downsize, but I think with a lot of, again, I could be completely naive here, again, with a lot of co-planting and a lot of systems, like for example, like mass reservoirs that I can kind of let my plants bottom feed from and stuff like that, perhaps I won't need to get rid of as many as I might if I was just growing them all in individual pots, you know? But again, I've lost about 40 plants already. That has been the start of a pretty epic downsize. That's the most I've ever had to get rid of in one go. So again, stay tuned. I don't know yet. I am figuring this all out as I go because it's my first time doing all of it. But I'd like to think I won't have to... Like, what I want is to still be able to have a really planty home, but be able to have one that is just much more manageable and allows me to not to just be another massive responsibility. If I feel like it's another massive responsibility and it's getting on top of me, I would get Emma or one of my friends to come in and look after my plants for me. I know I need to get better at relinquishing control. Or yeah, I would find new homes. But we will just see how that all goes. If any of you have got any tips or anything that you've done that really helped, let me know in the comments. I'm really grateful for all of the advice at the moment. Yeah, let me know. How many begonias do you have in your collection? Oh, how many begonias do I currently have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I think. I've got the lovely hybrid that I got at another plant swap from one of you guys. I've got the begonia white ice, which I actually got from the lovely person that asked this question, I believe. The begonia iron cross that I got from someone on my Patreon, and the begonia goegoensis, which is my favourite begonia. Absolutely love that begonia, which again I got from the person that asked this question, who is India from Begonia Addict. Her page is called Begonia Addict on Instagram. I've also still got a cutting of my begonia Sinbad. I have never been able to part with it, and it's currently growing completely hydroponically. I don't really know whether or not I'm going to pot it up. I'm just enjoying looking at it in the kitchen. So it's not a full plant. It is just a small section of plant. But yeah, I think those are the begonias that have made it. I did lose quite a few begonias in the last few months. So yeah. Do you have any plant regrets so far this year? Honestly, I think probably my biggest regret is something that I just touched on, and it's not relinquish and control more. Ross, when I wasn't well, kept saying to me, can I do anything? Can I do anything? And I kept saying, no, it's fine, I'll do it. Or like, I wanted to be able to do it all myself. And I know that is how I am as a person. And I know, particularly with our new situation, I'm going to just need to get better at letting people help me with things, and not being such a massive control freak. So I think that is a regret. I think I know I wouldn't have lost as many plants as I did if I let people help me. Emma messaged me as well, and she was like, let me know if you need anything. Me and Emma actually are getting together next week to do some planty stuff, which will be nice. But yeah, I think that would be my biggest plant regret so far this year. God, these roots are so dry. Like, so many of them are just like paper. So just separating those from the healthy roots is really quite hard, but it's important to do because otherwise it's all just going to rot. And I don't want that. I really want to save this plant. One of you said, my Monstera hasn't pushed out a new leaf in a while. Is there something I can do to stimulate growth? So if it hasn't pushed out a new leaf in a while and you are just coming into the spring, I'm not sure whereabouts in the world this person is, but there's probably a reason. It's probably because it hasn't been getting the best conditions. Obviously, the darker winter months are dark, they're cold, they don't provide ideal growing conditions for something like a Monstera that is a tropical plant. And in order to thrive and put out lots of new growth does require long hours of light and warmth. So that could well be the reason. Like, if you feel like you're doing everything else correctly, I would maybe give it another few months and just see how it does. A lot of my plants now, I can see the first signs of them starting to do things, and they haven't done anything in ages. And it's very normal for plants to go into a little bit of a dormancy over the winter months. So yeah, if you're working with like grow lights and heating systems and humidifiers and all that sort of stuff, and your plant still isn't putting out any growth, so like I'm assuming you've checked the roots of your plant, I would always start with the roots, because obviously a lot of the issues can often start there. But again, nutrition, make sure you're using a good high quality fertiliser, that it's a broad one that supports all the kind of nutritional needs of that specific plant. If you Google Monstera deliciosa, you can find like complete nutrient breakdowns of what they like and the type of soil they like. And then of course, like I was talking about earlier, introducing different specific things, such as, I'm not saying Calmag will be the thing for you, but for me, I found that it really worked. So yeah, that would be my suggestion. I would say just go slowly with anything new you introduce, just because there's no guarantee that your plant is going to love it. And if you've gone in with a full whack of it, then your plant might go, oh my goodness, and go into shock and lose leaves and all sorts. Whereas if you go in gradually and slowly with something new, your plant has more of a chance to kind of give you signs that it's not happy. Like you might notice like a little browning around the outside of the leaf or something like that, and you can kind of subtly look for the signs to start with. That would be my advice. But yeah, as I say, I've got lots of plants, including some of my Monsteras that haven't put out any new leaves in ages. And I'm not worried about it. I do just think it's a time of year thing. And I have faith that they will start to put out new growth now that we're coming into a much nicer time of year. Oh my God, haven't the last couple of days been blissful? It has been so lovely. Oh, the first signs of spring just make me so happy. I think particularly this year, I don't know why, I love like autumn, even winter time, like the cozy months. I do love them. But there is just something about seeing the first signs of spring that just make me feel more alive again. It's like I feel more myself when I see them, and it's just beautiful. So yeah, very excited for spring. Is there a plant you admire in other people's collections but would never own yourself? Yeah, loads of plants. I think colourful plants, typically. Lots of caladiums I look at and I go, oh, they're so pretty, they're so beautiful. But I just know that I don't. I used to love caladiums, but I nowadays just don't particularly have the patience for a lot of them. I can't be bothered with overwintering them. Certain types of begonia as well. I can appreciate the beauty in other people's collections, but they're too, I don't know, I just find them a bit too garish for me in my home. Orchids as well. Orchids are one. As I say, I think I get comments sometimes from people being like, I know you passionately hate orchids. And I don't passionately hate them. I just have zero desire. When I say orchids, I'm typically talking about Phalaenopsis. I just don't personally have any desire currently to grow them. But I've got a friend actually who has an amazing orchid collection, and a lot of hers are starting to come into bloom at the moment, and they look incredible. And I was actually dog sitting for her last night, and I was admiring all her orchids, and I was thinking they look so pretty, but I wouldn't want them myself. So yeah, I think orchids would probably be the biggest one for me. Oh, I just can't. I think I am going to leave the foliage on this plant just for the time being. It's just a bit awkward to manoeuvre. Maybe, in fact, maybe some of the really bad leaves like that. Maybe I'll take that off. And then, yeah, I think... in fact, I think it probably needs a bigger pot. I'm going to go in with the big tower pot for this one. And again, I'm just going to give it a really chunky mix. And hope that this is going to be enough for the plant to bounce back. I think it probably will be. I've given it quite a significant root pruning. Oh, but yeah, I really don't want to lose this lovely plant. It's one of my favourites. Also, Ross has just started a work call upstairs. I'm not sure if you can hear that. He is right above us currently. He will eventually, when the babies come, be working out at the end of the garden. And I will tell you more about that when we start the project that we're planning. We're planning on basically building a garden outhouse so that we can turn Ross's study into a nursery. We've got loads of ideas and so many things that we need to do, but I was about to say the good thing is I'll at least be able to record these videos without him talking, but I will probably be competing with babies crying. So again, we'll figure it all out. It will all be fine. The next question was actually, how has pregnancy been for you so far? I would say ups and downs, massive ups and downs. Yeah, it's like there's parts of being pregnant that I am loving so much. I think, obviously, I've spoken about the first trimester. That was just the pits for me. It was awful. I couldn't get out of bed. Sometimes I would be down on the sofa, but I couldn't lift my head up without being sick or feeling like I was going to be sick or feeling motion sick. I couldn't look at my phone without feeling motion sick. I can't pronounce it, but I was diagnosed with what they refer to as HG, Hyperomensis gravidarum, or something like that, which is just, I think, just a very severe form of morning sickness. I know it affects lots of people, and it's just nasty. And I think it is more common as well in twin pregnancies because you literally have double the amount of hormones. So yeah, that was tough. I've now obviously found a medication that I get on really well with. I was going to say as well, I've also had a couple of comments from you guys saying you shouldn't be using medication and stuff like that. I really do think that is a very personal choice. Like, I would love, in an ideal world, to not have to be on medication, but I wouldn't be able to be functioning and doing what I'm doing now. I would still be in bed. I would still be on the sofa. And also, for the health and sake of my babies, I wouldn't be able to eat properly. And I'm like, at least now I'm able to get some more fruit and veg in my body, and I'm able to kind of do the things that I need to do. So I understand some people's personal aversion to medicating things, but this, for me, was a very clear, it needs to happen. Yeah, as I say, it's a personal choice for everyone, but it's the choice I made, and I do not for a second regret it. So yeah, now that I'm very much into my second trimester, I am feeling much better on the whole. I have tried phasing out my medication a little bit here and there. I'm currently on 2 pills. I went down to 1 pill at one point, and I just felt awful again. I was like, no, okay, we're not there yet. So there's that. But the other thing that, I don't know if this is too personal, I'm a very much like say it's kind of person. I don't have any shame in these things. But I've had a few kind of scares because I basically a few years ago I had to have a this might be way too much to be sharing online. I honestly don't know. If it is, feel free to skip this bit. But I had to have a portion of my cervix removed. I had some abnormal cells. I went for a smear test, and because of that, I have quite a short cervix. And it just means that there's been a few complications already. I've had some bleeding, I've had some trips to hospital and stuff like that, which, like, I feel on the whole in very safe hands, and I feel like everything is being done the right way. But it has just meant that I feel like I haven't been able to completely relax in my pregnancy yet. I mean, who knows? Can you ever relax? Maybe you just can't. Maybe it is just a worrisome thing that you'll always have, like, anxiety around. Like, I'm an angsty person anyway. But yeah, so there's kind of just been that in the background. And I think because there's 2 of them to worry about, I really try not to let my anxiety affect them. I know they always say keeping stress levels to a minimum is very important. I'm doing my best, but yeah, it's been quite scary here and there. So the times where things are good, like for example, when we've just got back from the hospital and we've had a scan to make sure everything's fine and I'm feeling fine, those are the moments where I just kind of go, oh, okay, thank goodness for that. They're fine and everything is good. And then I just have a few days of being able to really enjoy it. But yeah, it's just a scary thing, isn't it? Like, my body is doing all of this stuff. I find it absolutely insane that my body just knows how to do all this stuff as well. That it just knows how to create babies, that I've just got little children growing in me right now. And there are so many bits, actually. Yeah, there are so many bits that I am loving. I know somewhere further down this list, someone said, are you feeling your babies yet? Yeah, I am, and it's amazing. I love feeling them, but I'm not yet able to fully distinguish who's who. I think because they're turning so much, and that's the sensation I'm really getting. I'm really getting, like, particularly this one, the one that's on this side and a little bit higher up, twin 2. Twin 2, oh my God, has already got the most crazy personality. Just from the scans we've had, twin 2 is like flipping and like kicking off my uterus and just like going absolutely bonkers in there. And I've actually got an anterior placenta on that side, which means that for some women, they can't feel the babies until much later in the pregnancy. Like, I think for some women, like 30 weeks or something. And I'm already feeling that one. Yeah, I'm not having like super strong kicks yet, but I'm having lots of jumping muscle sensations and lots of things that I actually kind of thought to myself, is it going to freak me out? Like, is it going to feel really weird? And kind of alien. And it doesn't. It just feels nice. So yeah, I'm happy about that. But yeah, that's kind of been my pregnancy journey so far. I am actually, and I started this from the very beginning, I have decided to vlog a little bit of this, and I'm gonna probably put it on Patreon at the end of all of this. I'll probably put it on my free tier, so if anyone wants to go and watch it, they can. I'm aware that there's a lot of you that have zero interest in pregnancy, children, anything like that, and are just here for plants. I always try and bring what's going on in my life into what I do alongside plants, just because it feels like the right thing to do. But I do also still want to keep a little bit of that separate and keep the planty stuff here for me, you know. So yes, like I say, in summary, ups and downs, lots of ups and downs. But the ups have been extremely up. I have felt excitement and joy like I have probably never felt. Like, I am so excited. I'm so excited. Yeah, I'm looking forward to all of it so much. I can't wait to be a mum. I can't wait for Ross to be a dad. I think he will be the most phenomenal dad. And we are both just absolutely buzzing with excitement. But then, because of the excitement surrounding all of it, the anxiety of the lows is also very intense, if that makes sense. So yeah, that's the gist. I'll keep you updated. I will keep letting you know how things are going. It's actually quite nice to talk about them, because I don't often, I've got friends that I chat to. I've got my mum, who, bless her heart, has been absolutely amazing since the moment I found out I was pregnant. She's been baking me high iron cookies and meeting me for dog walks, and just randomly turned up at the hospital the other day when I didn't even ask her to come, which, bless her heart, she's been amazing. But I check in with people day to day, but actually reflecting a little bit over it all, as I am now with you guys, I haven't really done much of. So yeah, it's quite nice to do. And if it's TMI, too much information, I do apologise. I'm a pretty open book with these things, to be honest. I also just think that, like, why should there be shame in talking about our bodies? I know our bodies do weird and wonderful things, and some things, okay, yeah, maybe something should be kept private, but there's also some things that I'm like, you know what? It's just one of these things. It's just one of these things. You asked the question, you got the answer. And on a very separate note now, how are you getting on with the ladybird larvae? I did say I'd mix these questions up. If you watch my other videos, you'll know I introduced a load of ladybird larvae recently in order to combat mealybugs. I was trying something new. I heard that it could work quite well. Maybe I haven't stuck with it for long enough, but I must say I don't like it. Personally, I have not noticed a reduction in mealybugs on any of the plants that I put them on. I think biological pest control on the whole can be very successful. As I say, I use it for thrips, I use it for spider mites, I use it for all sorts of other things. Mealybugs, so far, no. If that changes, I will let you know. Oh, my camera battery just died. Where was I? Yeah, if that changes, I will let you know, but currently have not had the most luck with them. If you think that maybe I've done something wrong, if you guys are watching this thinking, oh, I use them all the time and they're great, please let me know what you do, because maybe I did do it wrong. Maybe, yeah, I'm dabbling in the ladybird larvae world for the first time. So yeah, give me tips, please. Do you think there are plants you will get rid of soon? I've kind of touched on this already. Yes and no. Yes, there are. As I said, I'm planning on taking a few to another plant swap. There's things, actually, like, for example, this one here, the Hoya David Calmag I, things that I like, but I'm like, do I love it? yeah, so yes, but I'll let you know as I go with that. I'm just currently very indecisive and just trying to get things back to a good state. Oh, I was about to rehab that one. Very quickly, something that I would like to do, I have got this beautiful, just because it's been sitting in here for like 5 days now and I feel like I should do something with it. I'll take it out and show you it in a minute, but I've got this beautiful Philodendron verrucosum, and this is actually a miniature verrucosum. We had Ben and his partner Grace over for lunch last week, Ben Worcester Terrariums, who, if you don't know him, he's absolutely amazing. He does incredible terrarium content on YouTube, Instagram, everywhere. And he was chopping one of his terrariums, and he very kindly took some cuttings of, oh my goodness, look at it, this little miniature verrucosum, and brought it for me when I saw him. So I would very much like to do something with it. Considering this has been one that has been living in terrarium conditions, I am, especially how I'm not very on top of plant care at the moment, I'm very reluctant to try and acclimate it to like normal room conditions. I would like to keep it in a terrarium. And I actually got a really cool container at a charity shop. I think I might have shown you it actually. I got it about 6 months ago. And I was just like, that's so cool. It's got a cork lid. And really, I think what I need to do is mount like a piece of cork or something going up the back of it. I think that would be the best way forward. I did actually take this bit of, I think this is like grapevine or something. And I was like, oh, this would work well. But annoyingly, it's just a little bit too tall and I haven't had a chance to cut it down yet. So I could just put it in there, but I think for now, I'm just gonna put the cuttings that I've got into this with some sphagnum moss on the bottom, just to keep them happy and get them started. And I will come back to this and do like a much bigger, exciting terrarium project with it at some point soon. Again, another question that I had from you guys was, am I going to do the terrarium cabinets before the babies get here? My IKEA terrarium cabinet. Absolutely, it is so high on my to-do list. I think as soon as I have got back on top of the plants in my collection, I would like to get straight on doing that. Also, I'm just going to put some sphagnum moss in here and then I'm just going to pop the cuttings in. Just kind of like a fancy prop box. But yeah, I'm actually thinking the little miniature verrucosum, I could totally... Oh, that was fun watching the moss go down. Did you see that? I'm going to do that again so that you can see, because that was really fun. It kind of went, woo! Will it do it again? I was a bit anticlimactic that, actually. But yeah, I might actually end up putting the verrucosum cuttings into my terrarium cabinet because I think they'd look beautiful in there. But for now, as I say, I've got some hydrated sphagnum moss. What I'm going to do, I've got my water bottle here. I'm just going to put a little bit of water in there just so that I can see it's filling a tiny space at the bottom. Not much at all, literally like a centimetre. And then I'm just going to drop these cuttings in. They've got fantastic aerial roots, so I think they will immediately just go straight into the sphagnum moss. I'm not going to worry about actually planting them. Oh, goodbye. Go in. Imagine if I got my arms stuck in this. But yeah, and then for now, they'll be kept happy in here. They actually look really beautiful. I don't know if you can properly tell on camera. But for now, they'll be kept happy like this. And I'll be able to enjoy them and look at them in that environment. And then I can transfer them to the cabinet soon if I want to. But yeah, I'm really happy with that. That was such a quick job. But I really do think that looks beautiful. So yeah, stay tuned and I will figure out what comes next with them. Okay, and this next one, quite sad, but I think savable. This really deflated Hoya is my Hoya carnosa. I don't know if you can see quite how deflated those leaves are. They are just like crispy and not good. And in fact, it's got some leaves that have already died on top. But there are a few sections of growth that I think probably will be savable. Like these ones here, they actually look, on camera, they look totally fine. They're not. Like, I don't know if you can tell how like floppy that is. With some rehabbing though, I do have faith that they'll bounce back. And with Hoya, obviously, like you can rehab the roots and you can do all that sort of stuff, but I personally find like resetting the plant, chopping it up, starting it again, repotting it is the best way to go. I love this Hoya. It's got a really special story behind it as well. It belonged to my friend's granddad, and yeah, I really want to save it. So I'm gonna just probably pop some soil. I do soil prop with Hoya nowadays, and I do find it really effective. I'm just gonna put some soil straight into this pot. There we go. And I'm just gonna take some cuttings and I'm just going to stick them straight in, and then I will hydrate it afterwards. And I have faith that this should hopefully root. Will that be big enough? Yeah, I reckon so. And the good thing as well with Hoya is that you don't typically have to remove the lower leaves, because with a lot of plants, you always need to make sure that the node is submerged. And that's where they root from. And with Hoyas, they can actually root from any point on their stem, meaning that actually you don't need to lose any leaves. So I'm going to just stick these in like so and hope that I can do it that way. Why is variegated alocasia so much more available than it was last year and at a better price? This so often happens with like so many different types of plant. Whenever there's a hype for something, obviously there was a massive variegated alocasia hype last year. People start clocking onto that. People start propagating and harvesting corms and trying to reproduce the plants. Obviously, tissue culture has become such a massive thing as well. There's so many people doing home tissue culture now. There's obviously lots of companies that have set them up as tissue culture companies. So yeah, whenever there is a demand for something, and I've said it before, often if there's a plant you love, often just give it 6 months. And if you couldn't afford it then, you'll be able to probably find cuttings of that plant or something that will make the plant much easier to obtain. And with variegated alocasia, I think because alocasia does typically put out corms, like the little bulbs you find in the soil and substrates, because that does happen quite easily, a lot of people will have invested in these super rare, super expensive variegated alocasias, and then 6 months down the line, they'll be like, oh, I found some corms, and then all of a sudden everyone's propagating them. So yeah, that is, oh, unpotted that. That is very much why I suspect that's happened. I've got a couple of variegated alocasia, but I haven't bought any apart from, actually it's a lie, I have bought my variegated Sarian. I was going to say, apart from that, I haven't bought any in the last year. Oh, that's a lovely cutting, look at that there. So yeah, I'm really glad though that the price is dropping on them, because I know they're a plant that a lot of people wanted but weren't able to actually get. Some of these cuttings actually, such as this one, that are quite heavy, I think that's gonna rely on the weight of the soil once it's hydrated to kind of hold it in place a little bit more. I'm trying to take as long a cuttings as possible where I can, but it's not always possible. But yeah, that is, I very much suspect, the reason for that. This was also a question that I had from quite a few of you, and it was, were you and Ross trying, or was the pregnancy a happy surprise? I was chatting to Ross about this earlier, and he was like, kind of both. I mean, we were trying for a baby, and we got two babies. So two babies was a very happy surprise. As I said in the video when I announced it all, like neither one of us have any history of twins in our families. It was a real shock, I'm not going to lie. I think we went through every possible emotion in that scan when we first found out that it was twins. But yeah, it's oh God, we both feel so lucky. We feel incredibly fortunate as well, because I know that for so many people, it's not getting pregnant is not a straightforward thing. And until you start trying to do it, you don't know whether or not it can happen for you. And we were very lucky that it happened quite quickly for us. And obviously we've just done it in a very efficient way. We've got 2 for 1. So yeah, we are thrilled. So let's say one was a happy surprise. But no, we were trying. Another question that I have somewhere on this list that came up so many times is, are you and Ross going to get married? And I had that in the comments of my last video as well. And I was like, one thing at a time, my God. I know we're maybe doing things in a slightly less conventional order. I do think we will do that at some point. But again, we're not in any rush. We're really not in any rush. We're doing things in a way that feels right for us. I'm actually going to create 2 pots of this plant, by the way, just really quickly, just because those are all the healthiest cuttings that I expect to do well. They keep falling out. And then I've got another lot here that I am a little more doubtful about. So I'm going to do a separate pot for them so that if they start to rot, at least I've got them separated. But yeah, one thing at a time. This is the biggest thing either of us have ever done, and we can't wait. So yeah, we'll see what the future brings after that. What was the last plant you bought? So I have, and I know this probably sounds ridiculous, but I have bought a few new plants since the mass killing of all of the plants, for reasons. They all have reasons. One is a less justifiable reason. The plants that I have bought are a few air plants. I got some types of Tillandsia, just because I'm playing about with different ways that I can make my planty space feel really planty without having to do as much to it. And air plants are fantastic for this, because although, yes, they are plants, they get most of their nutrients and most of the water they need from the air, hence the name air plants. So if you do live in a space with very good humidity, you may only need to mist them or dunk them to water them once every few months. And that is such a low maintenance plant. I've got some air plants that I got when I was at Malvern last year. And I haven't done anything to them since I brought them home. May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December, January, February. That was 9 months ago, which is bonkers. And they are just perfectly happy. So I'm like, that for me doesn't even count as a plant bringing into my collection. Also, while I'm on the note of Malvern, I am going to Malvern again this year. I'm obviously not going to be doing a show garden or anything like that. I will be very large at that point, but it's in May and it would be lovely to see some of you there. I'm actually doing a talk on the Friday, so by all means come along to that if you fancy. I will probably be there for the course of the weekend as well, but I will leave the details for Malvern down below. Also, if you haven't heard me chatting about Malvern before, it's an RHS festival, the spring show in literally the foot of the Malvern Hills. It's just the most beautiful festival. It's houseplants, outdoor plants, flower shows, show gardens, indoor gardens, outdoor gardens. I've made vlogs about it on my channel before, which again, I will link below. But yeah, it's just really, really awesome. And I do have a discount code for tickets as well. So if you are keen on coming, I will put everything in the description. But back to the plants that I bought. So air plants, I'm not gonna, they don't count. I did randomly buy a spider plant because I very sadly lost my spider plant when I had morning sickness, when I wasn't well. It died. It very sadly died. That's it. But I am involved in a TV project at the moment, which I will tell you more about at some point. And I had basically said that I was going to do a piece on the spider plant, and I was going to talk about the way that it threw off plantlets and how actually that could be a sign of stress. And I obviously didn't then have the plant to demo anymore. So I still really wanted to do that demo. So I did go to my local garden centre and I did find a spider plant, and I was like, perfect. I think I paid about £4 for it. I divided it when I was on set and I gave it to various people in the crew, which was quite fun. And I've kept one little section back for myself as well. So I do have a spider plant again. And when I was at the garden centre looking for the spider plant, there was one plant that really grabbed me, and it's a plant I've owned before. And I eventually, I think, lost to thrips. And the reason I'm bringing it back now is firstly because it's a very low maintenance plant. You might actually be able to, I know you can't see it behind me, I'll put a clip in of it. It's a very low maintenance plant, and I feel like I've got much better ways of dealing with thrips since I dealt with that plant before. But it is the Lepismium bolivianum. Do you remember me talking about that plant? If you have been on my channel for like years, you will remember that I used to call it my head of hair plant. I got it when I was, I think, living back at my mum's over lockdown, and I just loved it. I just thought it was the most wonderful plant. And so, yeah, I got one of those. And I don't regret it. But that's it. That's all I've bought. I haven't even looked at online plant shops. I'm trying not to. So, yeah, that's where I'm at the moment. And I plan on not bringing in anything else for the time being, at least. Like I say, I just want to get back on top first, and then I'll see where I'm at with everything. Have you guys bought any new plants recently, though? Let me live vicariously through you. Let me know in the comments some of the plants that you've bought. I would love to know. God, just chopping up this plant. I feel really unfit. Okay, so this is the pot that I have chopped up, which again, I know looks fine weirdly on camera. I swear to God, the camera makes everything look better than it actually is. This is so floppy. But I think these cuttings should bounce back. These ones here, I'm not even gonna, I don't think I'm gonna bother with. I just don't think there's any hope for them. Maybe I might stick some in water, but this gives me 2 chances with multiple cuttings at getting the plant back, which I think will be fine. I think that's all I need. I think I can do it. So yeah, I really, really hope so, because as I say, I do love that plant so much. And the other thing that I really want to do is this Anthurium, which is my Anthurium magnificum luxurians hybrid. Oh God, it was doing so well until like the end of last year, and then it just went downhill, got really bad root rot. And I chopped it all up. I took off loads of the leaves and I put it into sphagnum moss to re-root, to strengthen the roots. But the sphagnum moss I used was not my normal stuff, and it wasn't particularly good quality. And I have a feeling it might have kind of compacted a bit around the roots. And obviously the plant it's still here, it's still got that leaf. I know it looks like it's dying off, but it has looked like that for months. So really, I think I would just like to have a look at the roots, see what's going on with them, and then, yeah, you can see the quality of the moss, literally. Oh no. Oh yeah, I've got some unhappy roots. Yeah, just from looking at it. Do you see? It's it looks dead. It looks kind of like straw, and that is not what happy, healthy, live sphagnum moss should look like. So yeah, the roots actually don't look great, annoyingly, so I'm gonna just trim back, have a look, reassess, and see what we do next. One of you said, how is your philodendron rugosum getting on? It's still alive. It's still alive. It's one that Emma gave to me for my birthday last year. And I must say, this is one that I think I might take to the plant swap on Sunday. I really like it, but I don't love it. I don't love it enough. And right now I'm really trying to kind of make some, oh my God, yeah, these roots are so bad. Look at those. Oh dear, you can just pull them away. Oh dear. Yeah, I'm trying to just make some very brutal, tough decisions. And that one feels like a pretty easy decision. So the plant is good. If you're coming to the plant swap on Sunday, maybe you'll get it. Maybe you'll get that plant. Maybe I'll take cuttings. I don't know. But I do think that's one that I am ready to part with. Oh, damn it. I'm just, I think I'm going to have to remove a lot of these roots. The good thing is there are some healthy roots. Like if you look at the top here, that's a nice new healthy root. That's a pretty good root, but there's lots here that aren't. So I'm just going to chop them all back to the point that they are healthy, meaning that it's probably going to have a very small root system for now, and then get it reset in sphagnum moss again, and hopefully that will be what it needs in order to bounce back. The next question though was, what are some tips for starting a Planty YouTube channel? I get this question quite a lot, and I love to think that loads of you are also hopping on YouTube. It's such a fun thing to do, honestly. Like, I just love it. I absolutely love it. And I missed it in the time that I wasn't well and couldn't do it. So I guess it kind of depends why you're starting the channel. If you're starting purely to connect with other people in the community, then I would make community focused content. If you are starting a channel to create, I don't know, the next big thing, the ultimate resource for planty people, the place that people come to your channel, then I would make content that is tailored to that. For example, if you look back on my old videos, I never, ever, when I first started out, I never would have dreamt of making a video like this that was just chatting to you guys. Not that it's a bad thing to do, and I'm not saying you shouldn't do it. I'm absolutely not saying you shouldn't do it. But the brutal side of social media is that a lot of the time, until people know you and they trust you and they know that you can offer value to them in some way, a lot of people won't tune in. I know that sounds really brutal, but that's why I made loads of how to look after this plant, how to look after that plant, things that were searchable and people could find. And because YouTube is essentially a search engine, isn't it? And then when I started kind of getting a kind of a little loyal audience, then I started doing more personable content and repot with me and get to know me and stuff like that. That's my experience of it anyway. It could be completely different for you. And also, I started on YouTube, I think 5 years ago now at this point, which was quite a while ago. I'm sure things have shifted and changed, but that is my experience of it at the moment. I actually was chatting in depth to one of my friends about this this morning, because one of my friends, not in the plant niche, she's just done a 30-day art challenge. Oh my God, she's absolutely brilliant. I will put her Instagram page just here. She's called Gak Works on there, and she is just wonderful, absolutely wonderful. But she is thinking of starting out doing kind of more long form content on YouTube. And so I was kind of reflecting on a lot of the things that worked for me and a lot of the things that didn't. But yeah, I think creating content that serves a purpose is important. And weirdly, like, even though the kind of thing that I'm doing right now might not feel like it really serves a purpose, like, I hope that by creating these kind of videos, obviously they help to keep me motivated, which is amazing, but I really hope that they also can help to motivate you guys. And when you see one of my videos pop up, you might think, right, okay, time to get on with some plant care, let's do it with Claire and blah, 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 blah. And then I try and integrate that with like how-to videos and how to look after this plant and different projects and things that, I don't know, like, I think just varied content. But the most important thing, and I truly, truly mean this, the most important thing is creating content in a way that you feel is you and in a way that you enjoy, because there are so many people on social media, on YouTube, trying to make it as a YouTuber. I'm not saying I've made it as a YouTuber, by the way, but like trying to live this YouTubey dream. And if you're not truly passionate about it, then like, I don't know, then I don't want to be like mean about it, but I'm like, if you're not truly passionate about it, I don't think long term your channel will stand the test of time, because you have to love what you do. Because there are days where, or weeks where, when you've been doing it for a while, you're not going to feel inspired. You're not going to have loads of new ideas for content. You're probably not going to want to sit in a room by yourself and chat for hours on end. There's going to be times where it does get difficult. I started as a hobby. I started literally like not with any idea of making it into a job. I just wanted to provide useful content in a way that I felt I would like to receive it, as someone that learns very visually. And like, yeah, the community aspect was really important for me as well. But those would be, I think, the most important things were I to be starting out with a whole new channel again. Oh God, also I'm so out of breath, my God. But if you do have a planty YouTube channel, or even a non-planty YouTube channel, or just something that you want to promote, I will pin a comment at the top of the comment section in these videos. Comment it down below, because what you are making could be absolutely what someone else is wanting to see. I also have discovered loads of planty YouTube channels through connecting with you guys in the comments, or seeing someone that is planty commenting, and I'll click on their page and I'll be like, oh, they've got a channel, and then I'll start kind of, yeah, figuring out things from there. It's lovely. I love the fact that anyone is able to just create a YouTube channel. It's really fun. So yeah, do comment yours down below. Whew. But I have just derooted all of the bad roots, and that actually there are quite a lot of healthy ones, but they are limited, as you can see. So yeah, I'm gonna, what am I going to show? That's quite a big pot. Maybe this is where I use my nice clear orchid pots. That feels like a better size. And I'm not going to reuse that sphagnum moss. As I say, I wasn't particularly happy with the quality of that moss, and I've got my lovely stuff here. So I'm going to go in with that instead. Oh God, I've still got so many questions here as well. I think I'll need to do a part 2. Another question a lot of you guys ask is, are you going to find out the gender of your babies? Yes. That is something that we have talked about sharing on YouTube, and we're going to keep that just for us. We will tell you, of course, when they're born, along with names and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, genders for now, we have decided to just keep to ourselves. By all means, guess. By all means, have a guess. As I say, they're very likely fraternal, so we could be having 2 boys, 2 girls, boy, girl. Place your bets in the comments. I would love to know how many of you get it right. So yeah, very exciting. Also, like, I think I said it in my other video, but firstly, we don't plan on raising our children any differently, really, if they are boy or girl. Like, we're not the sort of people that wouldn't put a boy in pink or would only put a girl in pink or like any of that sort of stuff. Totally not us. Also, Ross wears pink all the time. Like, it's not a factor with anything, really. I think obviously when, like, there are certain conversations that you'd have to have in a slightly different way as they get older with boys and girls, in regards to how their bodies work, in regards to boundaries, consent, all these things for further down the line. But yeah, it's not the most important thing to us, basically. If we were having 2 boys, 2 girls, boy, girl, whatever, we would be just thrilled so long as they are happy and healthy. That is the main thing. And the only reason that we've chosen to find out is, I think, just more from a name perspective. As I said at the beginning, I quite like gender neutral names. But I think having a pool of boy names and girl names is a good idea. It's just a good idea. We also don't want to name them before we get here. We would like to have a pool of names that we can then look at them when they arrive and go, you're like, get to know them for a bit and figure out what their names are from that, you know. But yes, cool. I'm happy. I really hope this plant will be happy as well. It can't be any more unhappy than it was before, with its roots just in tatters. So I do hope that it does better now. Was there anything else that I brought over? I meant to bring this one over. Let's do this one. This is the little anthurium that I can never remember the name of. Peng something, I'll put it on the screen. This is the lovely little one that Emma got for me, and it's in this teeny tiny pot. It is drying out so quickly. I'm watering it every few days at the moment. I honestly don't know how it survived. I really don't. So yeah, I just would like to pot this one up. Perhaps I'll look at the root system, but I'm thinking maybe, or in fact, the little pot that the Warocqueanum was in, maybe. That could work quite well. Which plants like hydroponic growing, and which plants hate it? I don't know if you mean semi-hydroponic or pure hydroponic. Semi-hydro, oh God, it's a plug plant. Look at that netting around the roots. I hate it when plants have that. It's such a faff. Semi-hydroponic, as a lot of you will know if you watch my videos, because I bang on about it all the time, is basically just growing in a medium, a non-organic medium, usually porous materials such as lacquer, which is like clay pebbles, pumice, lava rock, all that sort of stuff, and water. Semi-hydroponic wise, there's very few plants in my experience that really don't get on well with it. The only 2 that I would say I've had some species that don't love is Monstera and Philodendron. Monstera deliciosa, for example, I didn't find it did badly in it, but I just didn't find it like sprouted into a whole new way of life in the same way as some of my other plants like alocasias, for example, have when I've moved them to semi-hydro. The same with certain philodendrons. Again, I haven't had bad experiences per se, but I grow all my philodendron in soil, and I don't plan on changing that. The ones that love it, alocasia, calathea, peace lily, any plants that typically enjoy lots of moisture love semi-hydro. But yeah, I've heard anthurium get on great in it as well. I have kind of dabbled here and there with anthurium. I know some of you guys always say, Claire, you should transfer loads of them over, and maybe I should. Maybe I will need to at some point soon. But yeah, for me right now, anthurium, most of my anthuriums are still in soil. That is a very little root system. but it's a healthy root system. So yeah, we're gonna go with that. I'm gonna go in with the same little pot the Rockwianum was in. Have you ever, this is auto-corrected to wildfire, have you ever met wild fern, and would you ever consider a collab? So no, I have never met wild fern. I believe she's in Canada. I've never been to Canada, so no. And yeah, I would absolutely consider a collab with her. If you are watching, wild fern, would you like to collaborate in some way? Because yeah, I'm always up for a collab. I know I don't do that many, and I think, I don't know, like I know I get together with Emma from time to time and we'll make videos and stuff, but I just think, I just think I'm bad at reaching out to other creators and asking them if they want to be involved, usually because I would just assume that they don't want to be. So I just kind of stick to doing my own thing. And I am also just like, as I say, control freak. I do just like doing my own thing. But yeah, I would be totally open to a collab. What kind of collab would you guys want to see out of interest? Like, bearing in mind, I think it would probably be quite unlikely we'd be able to actually be in the same room. What kind of collab would you be interested to see? Oh, this was another semi-hydro question. Leca type balls versus semi-hydro gravel style. IKEA have the balls really cheap and I'm scared to try. So I haven't actually, I've heard a few people talking about the Leca that IKEA is putting out at the moment because it is meant to be super cheap. I haven't tried it myself, but I don't see why it would be an issue. I think Leca's great. Like I have used Leca lots over the years. I know I do typically nowadays use my semi-hydro mix that is, like I say, pumice, lava rock, all that jazz. And I like that. I don't know why, I just like it. I like the variety of it. I like the chunkiness of it. But Leca serves the exact same purpose. So yeah, if you can get it cheaply, make sure you obviously like rinse it off well first to get rid of all the dust. It probably won't provide any kind of nutrition, fertilization, so make sure you're fertilizing with a semi-hydroponic compatible fertilizer. But yeah, that's something I would definitely try. And if it's cheap, absolutely go for it. In fact, maybe I will try that myself because I need to stock up on some cheap semi-hydro. There we go. That little one is all potted up. I'll give it a water through after this. I still have so many questions. Actually, there were so many questions in this video that I was actually really excited to answer because they're things that I haven't really chatted about yet. So I will totally make this into a part 2. I will tick off the questions I've answered and I will come back to this video in the next few days probably and carry on because I've got lots more things that are not happy. But if you were doing things along with this video, I really hope you got lots done. I'm really happy actually with what I've got through today. I know it's been a bit slow paced and a bit chatty, but I really enjoyed that. So yeah, thank you for watching. And if you did enjoy this video, please make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, have a lovely day, and I will see you in the next video.
Stay sexy, plant lovers.